You guys, I am so bored. Now that I got my insane title in Wrath of the Lich King Classic, I just don't know what to do. I'm trying to be hopeful for a Classic Plus or SOM2 Plus, or SOM2, not SOM2 Plus. But man, it's been quiet, and there have been some updates recently on the Classic launcher that I want to talk about, but I also just kind of want to commiserate a little bit and just be like, man, what do I do in the meantime? Like, I really want to play Classic. Classic is my jam. TBC was a lot of fun. Wrath has been fun too, to just kind of relive and re-experience the content, but it just reinforced the belief in myself, and I guess in so many other people, that Classic is where it's at. We're all Classic Andes at heart, and we just love Classic content. And for me, Wrath is probably at this point as much as quote-unquote retail as I could get right now. Wrath is basically retail in Classic terms, let's be honest here. But it's still like the very tail end of Classic era, I would say. I have no interest in playing Cataclysm. If they do a Cataclysm Classic or whatever, I'm just not gonna play that. So that's what I'm really hoping for in SOM2, Classic Plus. I'm pretty sure they're gonna throw in some hardcore servers based on the popularity of hardcore. But yeah, let's go over some of the updates that we've seen to the Classic launcher over the past couple weeks. Very interesting stuff. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to this. I've got trusty WOWHEAD open, Classic WOWHEAD, that is, and this was posted 5 days ago. And the title is WoW Classic Patch 1.15 in development. Very curious. So let's scroll down a little bit and see what it says. It says, Blizzard has pushed a new encrypted build for World of Warcraft Classic on the developer branch, patch 1.15 and a bunch of numbers. This was also spotted by Mr. GM, our buddy, on Twitter, and can be seen listed on wow.tools. And Mr. GM's tweet reads, looks like we've got something new for WoW Classic era on the way. The encrypted WoW Dev endpoint has just been updated to patch 1.15. Now, WOWHEAD goes on to speculate a little bit about what this could mean. Does it mean hardcore realms are going to be added? Is it a Season Mastery 2? Could this be Classic Plus? But what I thought was extremely curious was a response from Brian Birmingham, and let me see if I could pull this up. So as we all know, Brian Birmingham, beloved WoW Classic, World of Warcraft veteran in general, recently departed from Blizzard. You know, that's a story for another day. You could Google his name if you really want to find out what happened. But Brian responded to Mr. GM's tweet about the updated patch and said, I'm a little biased, but I think you'll like it. Wink face emoji. Incredible team working on that. Heart emoji. This could mean a million things, right? But I don't know. This really kind of made me think that maybe the WoW Classic team is working on something like a Classic Plus. Like, I think hardcore is a given at this point. I think there's definitely going to be hardcore servers. Like, it would be really dumb of them to not implement that, just because of the popularity of the hardcore community. I mean, it's just exploded in popularity. They have such a tight-knit community and such amazing players and such an interactive community. It's a no-brainer for Blizzard to make hardcore servers. So, like, if they don't do that, I'll be very surprised. As for Classic Plus content, man, I mean, I may or may not have checked out Turtle WoW, allegedly. But it was mostly because I was curious to see what type of content these guys added to the game. And I was just blown away by how many updates and, like, I guess you could say Classic expansion content that they added. And the way they word it is that the content is more like horizontal, whereas like you stay level 60, but they keep adding in new content. Whereas I guess like TBC, you get to level 70, Wrath, you get to level 80, and so on and so on. But It's really interesting what they've done with Turtle WoW, and I definitely recommend anybody to at least check out their website just to see, like, they added in new playable races, they added in a goblin class and high elves, which is kind of funny because the high elves look exactly like the blood elves, but they're on the alliance side, and the goblins are on horde. They made a lot of interesting changes to talents and like meme, quote unquote, meme specs, like ret pallies are kind of viable, prot pallies are viable, things like that. Like this is like classic plus in my opinion. Like they added in new zones, new music, new NPCs, new quests. Like this really is a labor of love. I just thought it was fascinating what they added to this game in just the realm of classic. Very interesting to check out. But reading up on Turtle WoW really made me think about what could Blizzard possibly do with a Classic Plus? Would they do a Classic Plus? Do they have the bandwidth for a Classic Plus? Do they have the team? I mean, I know a lot of people recently have departed from Blizzard and may or may not be on good terms, I don't know. Based on Brian's tweet, I am hopeful that the Classic team has been working on something. I think a big reason SOM fell short was because, to me, right off the bat, the biggest change that they added was faster leveling. I don't mind faster leveling. People love WoW Classic because of leveling out in the open world. Being out there in Azeroth, questing in all these iconic zones, the Elwyn Forest, the Barrens, Westfall, Duskwood, Winterspring, I don't know, I'm just throwing names out there right now, but I think a big part of the game is the journey. And I think SOM fell short because they just wanted to have people get to 60 as quickly as possible. I don't know. There were a lot of other reasons why people didn't like SOM, but I think just making it about leveling faster wasn't the play there. I would love it for them to fix certain classes, change up the talent trees a little bit, maybe add TBC talents to some of the classes just to mix things up a bit. Because at this point, like, the hashtag no changes, like, if you're a hashtag no changes person, like, go play a private server. Like, nobody cares, shut up. At this point, we want to see different things. We want to see new content, at least. This is the version of the game that we love, and it would be just so cool to experience new content, new zones. Imagine entering, like, a finished Hyjal, or Karazhan Crypts, or some zones that really feel like they fell short for certain factions, even, like for Alliance in the hinterlands. Like, you could definitely tell that area was unfinished. There's like 3 quests for Alliance, but there's a ton for Horde. And yeah, wasn't there originally supposed to be a battleground in Ashara? Just like all this stuff that you hear about, it would be really cool to see it actually fleshed out and finished. Even if it was an experiment, and even if it fails, like, just to see that they're trying to appeal to this demographic, this group of players who just love classic content and just want to see more of it, like that horizontal line I was talking about earlier. And there's other content, too, that we would love to see. I mean, I started a blog, by the way, QUISSY.tv. Check it out. I just post, like, WoW news and updates and stuff whenever I feel like it. But anyway, I wrote this article a couple weeks ago titled, "We Want Classic, period. Preferably Classic Plus." And just kind of, I mentioned Turtle WoW as I did earlier. Also talk about kind of some of the things I would like to see in a Classic Plus or SOM2. And I'll just run through the list real quick. So the first thing I put was Heroic or a Mythic Plus type of dungeon system. It gives more challenges to the players and potentially nicer rewards, so that there's less of a bottleneck of, like, I don't know, spamming Upper Blackrock Spire for the 500th time to try to get your True Strike shoulders. Maybe in the Heroic Plus, you have a chance of getting the True Strike shoulders. Just something like that to mix things up and give you other options rather than just literally going insane. And I'm not talking about the achievement in Upper Blackrock Spire, as much as we love doing that. I mean, hell, I love Upper Blackrock Spire. I will do it a million times. But if there's other options to get True Strike, Dalrens, and other stuff from there, that would be great. Flex rating. Now, I'm kind of torn on this. I did write flex rating, but there is something very special about having 40 people in a raid group. Let's be honest. It could be a clusterfuck, or it could be a beautiful thing of 40 people all working in sync as a single unit. but I think having the option of flex rating would be really cool for Classic, just to give people more options and to make it more accessible to smaller groups. So if we had like a 10-man, could you imagine a 10-man Molten Core? That would be so cool. 25-man, 40-man, just to kind of mix things up a bit. Like, I don't know, just throwing stuff out there to see how it would work. TPC talent trees, I mentioned this already with like Pallies, of course, but you know, enhanced shamans, elemental shamans, boomkins, feral druids, shadow priests. It would be very interesting to see the TBC talent trees in a Classic Plus, or some variation of it, just to fix those meme classes so that they are more viable, and so that people can play classes that they find really fun or actually want to play. And not be told that, hey, you can't raid with us because your class is terrible. Reworked PvP system is another thing that I wrote. The vanilla ranking system is kind of toxic. I don't have any suggestions as to how they can fix it, but just in general, the way it is, classic vanilla ranking system, it doesn't reward you for being good at PvP at all. You just have to literally show up. You just have to have the time. If you have the time to do battlegrounds for 12 hours a day, you are golden. And the other thing is a hardcore mode, hardcore servers, dedicated hardcore servers. So if I had to bet on any of these changes, hardcore mode would be the one that I bet on as the most likely to happen. Curious to hear what you guys think. But yeah, definitely, you know, check out my little blog, QUISSY.tv. It's just a fun little experiment that I'm working on. But in it, I also embedded a tweet from Josh Corbett. He's a WoW podcaster, huge Classic content. Aussie, awesome dude. I had the opportunity to meet him at BlizzCon a few years ago, and just such a fun, awesome dude. But anyway, I embedded a tweet with his WoW Classic SOM2 predictions, and it was pretty similar. 2 times XP rate, which is probably what they'll keep in if it's another season of Mastery. But he also mentioned TBC talents, hard mode dungeons, hard mode raids maybe, dropping an extra piece, so that would be really cool. I know they made some interesting changes to Molten Core in Season of Mastery, but they didn't really make any changes to the loot, and I wasn't really following the updates, but I think they may have done this later on, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they did make changes to the loot table later on, after the fact, but just to be able to, like, activate a hard mode in these raids would be so freaking awesome and fun. Like, hard mode Molten Core? Come on, sign me up. An increased boss HP, I'm sure that kind of ties into that. He also mentions a flex raid option, 10 or 25-man raid options. New PvP system and hardcore, same thing here. Then he goes on to list some desires as well. But great Classic content, so if you're, definitely give Josh a follow if you're interested in Classic content. So I mentioned patch 1.15 that was released. Well, one day ago, there was a different update to the WoW Classic launcher, and that was WoW Classic patch 1.14.4. This one is also encrypted. Blizzard has updated the vendor CDN, changing a 10.0 build to a new WoW Classic build, patch 1.14.4. WoW Classic is currently on patch 1.14.3, and there are no PTRs for Classic at the moment. Again, they mentioned the speculation that we could be getting another Classic error like Season of Mastery 2, Hardcore Realms, or maybe even a Classic Plus. But typically, vendor builds are set up prior to a patch being moved to a PTR, but there are currently no available PTR realms for Classic Era, as they have been used for Dragonflight builds. So now that Dragonflight has been updated to 10.0.7, there's a possibility that a PTR realm will open up soon for WoW Classic, is basically what they're saying on WOWHEAD. So TLDR is, it seems like we're gonna get news very soon. And that's kind of why I made this video. I am just so bored and so excited to hear any sort of Classic news, whether it be SOM2, Hardcore, Fresh Classic, whatever it is. Like, just give me something. Like, I want a fresh Classic. I want to play Classic again. So just to kill some time lately, I rolled on Whitemane. It's a Classic era PvP server on the Horde side. If you're bored and you want to play Classic, feel free to roll on Whitemane. Add me to your friends list, Quiss. I'm kind of experimenting with the Troll Priest right now. It's probably not what I would play in Classic. I think I'm gonna play a warrior, but you never know. You never know what kind of changes we're gonna see from Blizzard. You don't know what the future brings. They could make a lot of interesting updates to the game that are unexpected. I'm not gonna put all my eggs in one basket right now and just lock in on warrior, but that's kind of my tentative plans right now. Doesn't really matter to me what faction I play. I've been voting for Horde just to kind of mix it up a bit because I've been playing Alliance for the past couple of years, and it would just be cool to change things up. I wouldn't mind playing Alliance either, so I guess we'll see what the future holds. But yeah, that's what's going on right now on Whitemane. So if you're bored and you're itching for Classic, you want to get back into it, or maybe practice for a future update or any sort of news. Also thinking about maybe one of these days doing a YouTube live stream. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about that in the comments section below. Thank you for hanging out and listening to me ramble, because like I said, I am really bored and just itching for any sort of Classic content. I hope we get some news soon. So thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to hit that sub button, and hopefully you'll hear from me soon with some good Classic updates. Take care, everybody. I hope you are well, and have a great day.